Thank you, Legislator Loveridge, and also Stacy, thank you for your hard work on the budget. Just one more step to the final process. Thank you. All righty. Next. Okay, did he take my cheat sheet? Did you take my cheat sheet, Bob? Yeah.
Oh, wait, it says right here.
Thank you, Bob.
Supposed to go. That's the script for the public hearing. Do you have another copy of that?
Oh, yep.
Are you looking for the presentation
Yes.
sheet?
No, I got the presentation, just to go. Yeah.
I don't know who's here.
Next, we have presentations. It's 5:45. I think that's when we asked them to be present. Is there anyone here for P379, a resolution designating the week of October 3rd and 9th as Cornell Cooperative Extension Week? Anybody for Cornell Cooperative Extension?
I don't know.
Oh. Come on down, Yackers. And who's going to do the presentation? Oh, okay, all right. Presentational people.
Who's doing it?
Mr. Wazaki, Peter, and Harrington.
Good evening. My name is Mary Lee Kopacci, and I reside in Sand Lake. And I have served as the president of the board of directors this past year. And I will be completing my second term at the end of December. And that has been my privilege. I've been an active master gardener and a past 4-H leader. And I wanted you to know that CCE, Cornell Cooperative Extension, is a grassroots, volunteer-based organization that collectively reached over 4,500 households in Rensselaer County this year. We at Cornell, we strive to help our residents thrive. From nutrition and horticulture programs to farm meetings, 4-H and healthy home visits, the variety of our programs offered to our community is vast. Our volunteers are our multipliers. And last night at our annual meeting, we were able to recognize a few of our outstanding volunteers with our CCE Golden Shovel Awards. Limitations due to the pandemic still linger, but our staff and volunteers have been very resilient and innovative through the past 18 months to continue to offer programs and stay engaged with our community. We hopefully will come to normal state in 2022 and have the pandemic behind us. I really want to thank you all for being there and supporting Cornell Cooperative Extension. I would like to recognize Steve McLaughlin, our county executive, for the increased allocation to us for 2022 and the ongoing support of all of you and our Rensselaer County, all of you, our Rensselaer County legislators. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Do you want the team
Yes,
to go, or do
please.
you want to go first?
Good evening. My name is Grace Huffam, and I'm 15 years old, and I'm president of the Stablemates 4-H Club. I've been in 4-H for 11 years. I've been in a lot of different 4-H programs, including the horse program and teen exchange. I've been riding horses for longer than I can remember, and I grew up in the 4-H program. 4-H has not only helped me create great friendships, but has also taught me much about the world. 4-H has given me many opportunities to travel and to learn more about how to grow up. I know I'm only 15, but I believe that I've learned a lot more than most 15-year-olds from 4-H. The Teen Exchange has taught me how to fundraise and organize events. Usually during a normal Teen Exchange year is when a group of 4-Hers from our county go to a different state and stay with the families of the county there. Then the following summer, they would come here. Because we did not get to travel to Texas, which is where we were planned to go, we were able to spend time together with just our county group. We used the money we raised to go on different local trips like Saratoga Racetrack and Adirondack Extreme, where members went on scenic railroad cart trips through the mountains. Even though I did not get to experience the real teen exchange, I think that I made a closer relationship to my local 4-H members, and it provided me the skills to help put together activities and have fun. The horse program has had the most impact on my life. My mom was in the same program as me, and I hope my kids had the same opportunity too. This 4-H program is absolutely wonderful in providing the best for all of us. Each year, they make sure to have as many shows and clinics as possible so we could all reach our potential. They have provided us with all the opportunities, but it is our responsibility to take actions and go to these events. Horses definitely teach you patience and perseverance because they are much like teenagers and everything that entails. By having these skills and being surrounded by people who also have the same goals and go through the same things as you helps you to become a model 4-H'er. By learning these skills, that has helped me outside of 4-H and in places like my job and my school. And that is what 4-H is all about. Learning lessons and taking them to the outside world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kaylee Millar. I'm 16 years old, and I'm honored to speak on behalf of 4-H tonight. 4-H is a wonderful program within not only our community, but our state and our nation. Since I joined 4-H 6 years ago, I have been given access to so many opportunities that I otherwise would not have been able to participate in. 4-H clubs engage in many community service projects. The club that I am in, called Stablemates 4-H Club, takes pride in the community service projects that we complete throughout the year. At the beginning of every 4-H year, our club plans a project for the holidays. In the past, we adopted a family through Columbia High School, buying presents and supplies for people who otherwise would not be able to afford or access them. We have done this service project for several years, but this year we are looking into a new project called Operation Christmas Child. By filling a shoebox with essential supplies, toiletries, small games, and puzzles, each family in our 4-H group will make a young child's holiday season this year brighter. Another project we engage in around this time of year is donating food to local food drives. We communicate with the food drives in our area, inquiring about what products they don't usually get during the holidays. We deliberate amongst our 4-H group, eventually accumulating which food and canned goods we want to donate. In past years, I have also attended caroling with my 4-H club, making senior citizens' holidays just a little more cheery. Not only did I and my 4-H club members feel gratitude towards helping the community, but also for being able to see and experience the joy our audiences felt. Many of the elderly would start singing along with us, and on a personal note, spending time with them even made my holidays more enjoyable. 4-H has been a truly wonderful experience, especially on the community service side. I am proud to be a part of an organization that takes such care and puts effort into giving back to the community we live in. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
Good evening. My name is Emily Roadcap. I am 14 years old and I am in 2 4-H clubs. I am in the Rensselaer County Trailblazers and Feathers and Fur 4-H. I started out as a little girl with anxiety issues looking for an out. My mother had suggested that I should branch out into a 4-H program. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it meant, and I didn't know where it would take me. So, as a little girl who loved animals, I agreed. We rallied up some of our friends, and Feathers and Fur 4-H was born. I'd gotten a bunny. Her name is Charlie. Charlie would be my show bunny. However, Charlie was so much more than just a rabbit. Charlie was an entryway into a world of opportunities. It was my first leap into 4-H. I became the president of my club and wrote down all of my goals. I worked harder for accomplishing things in 4-H than I had for anything else in my life. I felt like I had a purpose. I would get all kinds of ribbons, each with a good story of how much effort I would put in to achieve it. My first chicken I'd ever shown was named Kirby. Kirby was, well, you know what, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Kirby was a brat. However, I wanted the challenge. I did my research and I practiced, more than you would think. Then came show day, and I approached the table. I wasn't worried at all. With all of my time and preparation, I thought I would do just fine. I walked back from the table, and do you want to know how I did? Absolutely terrible. I'm pretty sure it was the worst that the judge had seen that day. You know, that's the thing that 4-H has taught me. Life's not always about getting first place, and it's not always about expecting things to just work out. It's about perseverance and the willingness to understand and digest why things didn't work out the way you had planned. The Rabbit and Poultry program was my red carpet to finding out the person who I would want to be. Thank you.
So normally we could read this resolution, but I think these young women just did a fine job of establishing how important 4-H is to this county and community as a whole, and it would be a disservice to waste your time reading a resolution at this point. Me? Younger than you.
Years since I joined 4-H, Bob, so.
I just want to speak to Cooperative Extension and then 4-H as a side shoot. Coming from farm backgrounds, Cooperative Extension has meant the world to us. I remember growing up, a lot of Kathy Wixbot, who is no longer with us, you know, spent a lot of difficult conversations around the table, and it meant something, and I'm gonna, those people come to the farms, become part of your family, and share a lot of emotional, difficult decisions with you in times. And it has meant the world to me that this county has supported Cooperative Extension along the way, and we continue to do so. And as demonstrated tonight by these fine young ladies, what our commitment to Cooperative Extension and 4-H as a proxy means for the future of not just agriculture in the county, but really our future in the county. And I couldn't be more proud to be associated with such a fine group of people. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Candace.
Yes, thanks. Thank you.
Jeff, I don't know if you want to say anything or.
No, the girls did a fine job with it tonight. Like I say, about 50 years ago, I was first joined 4-H, so. And,
We had our centennial celebration
Yep.
of Rensselaer County 4-H last year,
Yep.
2020.
well, that's when Kenny joined.
All right, thank you for your
Thanks.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
She was in the back.
Thank you to the 4-H, and especially coming down and accepting the presentation. Next, we have a resolution in memory of Frank Joseph Sorrento. Presentation by Bendette, Loveridge, and Peter. Would the Sorrento family please come down? They're here.
All right. So this is a resolution in memoriam of Frank Joseph Sorrento, whereas it is customary for this legislative body to pay honor and respect to persons who have had a great impact and influence on the citizens of this county during their lives, during their time on this earth. We remember with deep respect and admiration the life of an individual whose singular example enriched the lives of his family, friends, and fellow citizens. And whereas, attendant to such duty and fully in accord with its long-standing tradition, it is the intent of this legislative body to express sincerest sorrow upon the death of Frank Joseph Sorrento, which occurred on Monday, the 30th day of August of the year 2021. And whereas Frank was born on March 19th, 1965, to the late John and Stella Sorrento, and whereas Frank graduated from Troy High School in 1985 and was a lifelong resident of the Capital Region, And whereas Frank served as a respected member of the Rensselaer County Sheriff's Office, and during his 24 years with the Sheriff's Office, Frank was assigned to the Transportation Unit and served as a team leader for the department's emergency response team, and was a certified defense tactics and basic training instructor. And whereas Frank enjoyed coaching and playing soccer, biking and listening to music, and meeting his friends at the Havana Premium Cigar Shop. And whereas Frank will be missed by his loving wife, Janelle, his children, Rocco and Juliana, his siblings, Rocco and his wife, Adelarada, his brother, Tony, and his wife, Teresa, his sister, Gina, and her husband, Frank, and his sister, Mary, his mother-in-law, Patricia Ryan, as well as the many relatives that still reside in Naples, Italy, and his many loving in-laws. Frank was predeceased by his daughter, Stelina, and now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with the tradition of this legislative body, to recognize those individuals whose superior achievements have contributed to the vitality of this community, we hereby extend grateful appreciation to Frank Joseph Soriento. And be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature is hereby directed to transmit an engrossed copy of this resolution to the family of Frank Joseph Soriento. So, obviously, if you know me, then you know that I knew Frank because he hung out at my store a lot, and that's how I met him and his friends. And it was always a lot of fun to meet them and listen to all the stories of them growing up in Troy and then working at the sheriff's. And you know, come next month, we're going to have our big party at the Red Front that you know that Frank would always be at, and you know, we'll always miss him. You know that. And I wish that there was something that I could say to make you guys feel better, but I know that there isn't. But I do know, after suffering loss myself in a similar situation, that he lives forever. He lives forever in your memories. And it's nice that we get a chance to recognize him here. And hopefully these will bring you some comfort from time to time. So, thank you. And Bob wants to say something too.
Yeah, if I could. I had the privilege to work with Frank at the correctional facility when I was a superintendent there. And I just have to tell everyone, I really didn't have a better employee than Frank. Frank did everything he was supposed to do. He followed all the regulations. He always came to work. He had a positive attitude, was professional all the time, interacting with the public. I guess from a management perspective, he was the least person I had to worry about who worked for me. And I knew that he would represent the sheriff's office the way it should be represented. So on behalf of my experience with Frank, I just want all of you to know that they just didn't come any better. And I really appreciate the time I had with him. Thank you.
First, I'd like to recognize his partners up there. Mike, want to stand up? His partner, that's his partner there for so many years. And then Mr. Centeni, stand up there. You're probably his best friend. And this is a little personal to me because of Frank and his family, the Sorientos. I got to know Frank kind of later in life, but my mother and father go over to Italy quite a bit. And when they go over to Italy, they go to Soriento's house, and they have dinner with him, and they take care of him. And I just tell you how great of a family that Sorientos are, and I'll never forget their hospitality that you've been to my mother and father, and all their aunts and uncles live over there. And what's the name of that town? Cernava? Cervinava. That's the name of, not Naples, Cernava. So God bless Frank, and okay.
Thank you to Soriento family and the legislators that obviously had a very important and influential impact on everybody, and that's why somebody would be honored here today. Next, we have P 38421, resolution in memory of Patrick J. Valley. I will do the presentation. Anybody who knew Mr. Valley, come on down with me, and may his family come down, please. Thank you. This resolution is in memory of Patrick J. Valley, where it is customary for this legislative body to pay honor and respect to a person who have had the great impact and influence on the citizens of this county during their time on this earth. We remember with deep respect and admiration the life of an individual whose singular example enriched the lives of his family, friends, and fellow citizens. And whereas attendant to such duties and fully in accordance with its long-standing traditions, it is the intent of this legislative body to express the sincerest sorrow upon the death of Patrick J. Valley, which occurred on Tuesday, the 7th day of September of the year of 2021. And whereas Patrick was born in March 9, 1934 in Troy and spent his early years in St. Joseph's Infants Home, once of school age, Patrick was moved to Mount St. John's, an orphanage tended by the Sisters of Mercy in St. John's, the Evangelist Church in Rensselaer. Patrick was always considered the sisters to be his family. Gifted with a beautiful voice, Patrick sang with the children's chorus and was a member of the Valiant Crusaders Drum and Bugle Corps while he attended St. John's Academy. As an adult, he continued his love for music as a member of the St. John's Evangelist Church and Festival Celebration Chorus, along with others. Music was very much a part of his identity and his joy to hear him sing. And whereas Patrick was proudly served his country in the U.S. Air Force, where he attained Staff Sergeant in less than 4 years, and whereas the proprietor of Pat's Submarine in Hudson Falls, and later, along with his wife, Virginia, the owners and operators of Angelo Submarines in Albany for 25 years. After Patrick sold the shop, he worked for Curtis Lumber, which he retired after 2 decades. And whereas Patrick was a member of many civic organizations, holding both local and state positions in the Kiwanis International, Key Club International, the Elks, the Knights of Columbus. Patrick was also a past commander of the Melvin Roads VFW Post 1231, where he enjoyed spending time regaling stories with his members. And whereas Patrick was predeceased by his loving wife, 66 years, Virginia A. Pulcinello Valley, Patrick is survived by his children, Patricia, William and Carol, Edward, his children, Tammy and Ernest, Leanna, Nicola, Kayla, Amanda, Allison, Maria, Ashley, Amy, William and Megan, his great-grandchildren, Rachel, Shannon, Jackson, Giselle, Annalie, Nathamath, if I get that right? Nehemiah, there we go, okay. Nehemiah, Lima, Zachariah, and Abley, May, and his sister-in-law, Joan Kaser, and now, therefore, it be resolved that in accordance with this tradition of the legislative body in recognizing the individuals whose superior achievements have contributed to the vitality of this county, we hereby extend a grateful appreciation to Patrick Valley, and be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature is hereby directed to transmit an engrossed copy of a resolution to the family of Patrick J. Valley. I've known Patrick, Mr. Valley, I was always called him, for a very, very long time. I was honored to be a member of the Knights of Columbus with him, as well as with the Kiwanis. I worked with him hand in hand on a lot of fundraisers. He could tell you some stories. You could sit there, stand by him, and listen to him all day long with some of the things he had to say and do. But, growing up, he didn't have a privileged life. He went through it the hard way, and I know his love for family was very, very special. That was very important to him because, like said earlier in the resolution, family was the sisters that brought him up in the orphanage down there in Rensselaer, and St. John's, the Evangelist Church, and was very important to him as well, and singing in the chorus for so many years at the church we went to. And I can just say that he was a true inspiration to anybody who knew him and had an opportunity to talk with him and understand his life, because it wasn't an easy life. And but he made the best of it. A lot of people would go the other direction, and he did not. And I just want to say that I was proud to know him. I was always happy to be working alongside of him and volunteering with him, and especially to hear some of the things that he had to say. And he did have a great voice. He loved to sing. That's for sure. So with that, I want to thank you. Would any of the other legislators like to say something?
I knew Pat through the Kiwanis. Kiwanis is a global organization of volunteers that are dedicated to changing the world one child, one community at a time. And Pat took a great interest in young people, And he, for many, many years, headed up what this area was doing to interact with our high school students and our middle grade students and our younger students, because Kiwanis represents those groups and has interactions with them and forms clubs with them and asks them to do community service and civic responsibility. And Pat was always the one to be right there, getting in and being involved in that with the young people. And his leadership and what he did was looked at by people across the entire state, and they tried to model what he did. So he was a great individual, and he really impacted a lot of people, especially our young people. Thank you.
With that, I have a resolution. Two resolutions stated. Okay, please accept this on behalf of the Rensselaer County Legislature for the final standing of the year Pat was, and the impact he had on so many of us. Thank you very much. Next, we have P 38921, a resolution adjourning the October 12, 2021 legislative meeting in memory of Rensselaer County Legislature, the Honorable Gary Pelvick. And that would be by Mr. Grimm, Ms. Dornan, and the minority of legislatures. And anyone else who would like to step up? Would the family please come down?
So this resolution is adjourning the October 12th, 2021 legislative meeting in memory of Rensselaer County Legislator, the Honorable Gary Pavlik. Whereas it is customary for this legislative body to pay honor and respect to persons who have had a great impact and influence on the citizens of this county during their time on this earth. It is with particularly deep sadness that we conclude this evening's deliberations in the absence of one of our own. And whereas attendant to such duty and fully in accord with its long-standing tradition, it is the intent of this legislative body to express sincerest sorrow upon the death of Gary Pavlik, which occurred on Wednesday, September 22nd of the year 2021. And whereas respected and admired by all, it is the collective sense of this legislature that the life of Gary Pavlik be memorialized and eulogized. Sorry. And whereas Gary was born on February 27, 1947, in Schenectady, New York, the son of the late Stanley and Julia Dakota Pavlik. He graduated from Duanesburg Central High School and earned a BS in Human Development from the Empire State College. And whereas Gary's career included work at the New York State Department of Health and the AIDS Institute of Albany, New York, as well as the Office of Mental Disabilities. And whereas Gary was active in the community and volunteered as co-chair of the State Committee for the Pauling Memorial Park to honor Troy's first mayor, Colonel Albert Pauling, which was dedicated in 2015. And whereas of Gary's many accomplishments, he will be remembered as a founding member of the Capital District Pride Center and his lifelong work on behalf of the LGBTQ community. And whereas in 2012, Gary was elected in a special election to represent District 1, which consists of the city of Troy, and served as legislator for 5 years. And whereas Gary was an exceptional representative for his constituents and a strong advocate for the protection of the environment and people of Rensselaer County, along with providing great oversight on the county's budget. And whereas Gary was an integral member on the Contracts and Agreements Committee, Social Services Committee, and Veterans and Youth Committee. And whereas Gary will be greatly missed by his longtime companion, Don Hogg, and many cousins in the United States and Australia, including Mary Ann and Paula, who were more like sisters, his goddaughter, Dr. Jessica Noonan, as well as all of Troy. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Rensselaer County Legislature adjourn this meeting in a moment of silent tribute in memory of Gary Pavlik and to reflect upon Gary's tenure of exemplary service, fully confident that his legacy will continue in this county for many, many years to come. And be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature transmit a copy of this resolution suitably engrossed to the family of Gary Pavlik. So we thought it would be a good idea if I presented this resolution this evening, because not only was I a neighbor of Gary's and Don's, but I ran with Gary in that special election of 2012. I remember when I told my son, who was 9 when we moved to Linden Hills community where Gary and Don resided, that Gary had passed, and he's 26 now, and he was really upset about it because he said that Gary was such a good person and such a kind person and friendly, always, compassionate. And I wrote down a few of the things that I remembered him saying, what a great neighbor he was, how passionate he was about Troy. He cared about his mother. He loved his cats. He was a good companion to Don. He loved decorating for Halloween and would throw these parties that were such fun. He loved Atlantic City. We would hear about Atlantic City. He liked to dress up. He was fun to be with. And when we campaigned that first year, it was great to be with Gary. It wasn't a difficult task to go around meeting other people in Troy with him. He was a very proud Democrat, and he always put others first. He was a team player. And those are some thoughts that came to mind, right away about Gary. And I'm sure there are other members here who might want to say a few words, because we were a very close-knit group, and his passing was difficult. Would anyone? Yes, I thought you might.
Thank you, Cindy. I just want to add to what Cindy said. Gary was, his whole life was dedicated to helping people, but it was really about the passion that he had for it that she had mentioned. But, you know, the bottom line about Gary was he was compassionate, but he was also extremely fearless. If he really saw an injustice, he was fearless about, you know, making that just. And you talk about his parties and everything, but I think he lived his life. Gary was, you know, his motto was probably go big or go home. And it was an honor and a pleasure to serve with him on this legislature.
I'll just say my recollection of working with Gary and knowing Gary is he was a people person, truly was. He was a credit to this legislature and a credit to his family and friends and loved ones, of course, but he he's engaging to people and loved people. And I'll just say one particular anecdote that I have a memory of is there was a resolution for some computer enhancement software or hardware, or whatever it was, but it was kind of expensive for the Social Services Department. And I'm more of a frugal guy, and I questioned about, I really quite like, how much can we spend on these people? What do we need here? What are we doing? And he said, his comment was, well, it's going to make the social services workers who do a great job, it's going to make their job so much easier. And he cared about people, and I was really impressed by that. It's his loss, or our loss is a loss to the citizens of Rensselaer County, because he was a good man in the best sense of the word. So I'm sorry for you guys. Thank you.
There's many, many words you could use to describe Gary. Two come right to mind: loyalty and friendship. And he would go to bat for you if you were a friend of his, no matter what. He had total dedication to his friends, and he loved to throw parties, and he loved to decorate his house. He paid people to decorate his house. 17 trees in the house for Christmas, and we did Halloween, and it was awesome. You never wanted to miss it. But he will be truly missed, truly.
Would anyone, Don? No? Okay. We have resolutions for it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you to Gary's family and friends and minority for bringing him up. Obviously, Gary had an impact on this legislative body for a number of years, and I know for me it was a pleasure to serve with him. Thank you. Let's move on to no more presentations. Let's move on to the regular meeting. I see I have nobody signed up. Is there anybody want to speak on behalf of the legislature tonight, public forum? That being none, we'll move on. I'd like to call the legislative body to order. Would clerk please call the roll again?
The attendance still stands at 17, present, 2 absent, Burns and Sullivan Tita.
Thank you. Mr. Grant, invocation.
God, please let every veteran of our nation's armed forces feel truly and appropriately honored by the attention and appreciation of their fellow citizens. Let no one feel forgotten or neglected, but every person, young or old, feel the deep and enduring gratitude of our nation and its inhabitants. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Graham, pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Harrington.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 12, 2021, and approve the minutes as printed.
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
So move presentations of petitions.
On file.
Communications.
On file.
Reports of commissions.
On file.
Departmental reports.
On file.
Reports of standing committees.
On file.
Local laws.
There are none tonight.
Move on to index of resolutions. G 39421.
G 39421, resolution authorizing an extension of the term period of a grant agreement with the New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services, Public Defender, Conflict Defender, and County Attorney, introduced by legislators Testman, Grant, and Weaver.
On the question. All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 39521.
G 39521, resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of Kronos upgrades of the timekeeping clocks at the Rensselaer County Correctional Facility Office of the Rensselaer County Sheriff, introduced by legislators Testman, Grant, and Weaver.
On the question. All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 39621.
G 39621, resolution authorizing the issuance of refunding bonds of the County of Rensselaer in a principal amount not to exceed $6,500,000 to refund certain outstanding serial bonds of the county and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Bureau of Finance, introduced by legislators Leverage, Stammel, and Grimm. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Bailey? Yes. Mr. Bendet?
Yes.
Mr. Casal?
Yes.
Ms. Doran? Aye. Mr. Fiacco?
Aye.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Grimm?
Yes.
Mr. Harrington?
Aye.
Ms. Hoffman?
Aye.
Mr. Leverage?
Yes.
Mr. Patiri?
Yes.
Mr. Peter?
Yes.
Mr. Testman?
Yes.
Ms. Weaver?
Yes.
Mr. Wysocki?
Yes.
Chairman Stammel?
Yes.
17 ayes.
Next, G 39721.
G 39721, resolution authorizing agreements for employment and training services for low-income youth, Department of Employment and Training, introduced by legislators Wysocki, Patiri, and Burns.
On the question. All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. Abstain? Was- Two abstentions?
So,
Oh, yeah, I have to abstain. Yeah, that's right, boys and girls. I got to.
so there's 4 abstentions?
Thanks for the reminder. You set?
Yes.
Okay. G 39821.
G 39821, resolution amending contracts with various Rensselaer County school districts for COVID-19 testing coordinators, Department of Health, introduced by legislators Leverage, Grant, Weaver, Bendet, Casal, and Doran.
On the question. All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 39921.
G 39921, resolution accepting additional grant funding for the New York State Department of Health for COVID-19 vaccine response activities and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Department of Health, introduced by legislators Bendet, Casal, and Doran.
All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 421.
G 421, resolution amending an agreement for respite care services, Unified Family Services Aging, introduced by legislators Bailey, Peter, and Fleming.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40121.
G 40121, resolution authorizing extension of monitoring services for Global Positioning System, Bureau of Central Services, introduced by legislators Leverage, Grant, Weaver, Stammel, and Grimm.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40221.
G 40221, resolution authorizing the purchase of replacement doors and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Van Rensselaer Manor, introduced by legislators Grant, Testman, and Weaver.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed? So
17
moved.
ayes.
G 40321.
G 40321, resolution authorizing contracts for youth activities, the acceptance of additional Safe Summer New York 2021 funds, and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Unified Family Services, Youth Services, and the Department of Probation, introduced by legislators Harrington, Testman, and Burns.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40421.
G 40421, resolution authorizing the purchase of coats and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Unified Family Services, Youth Services, introduced by legislators Harrington, Testman, and Burns.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40521.
G 40521, resolution authorizing a shared services initiative in the purchase of computer-aided dispatch licenses, Bureau of Public Safety, introduced by legislators Testman, Grant, and Weaver.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
16 ayes, 1 abstention, Mrs. Hoffman.
So moved. G 40621.
G 40621, resolution authorizing the acceptance of a grant from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Bureau of Public Safety, introduced by legislators Testman, Grant, and Weaver.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40721.
G 40721, resolution authorizing the purchase of VMware license, Bureau of Public Safety, introduced by legislators Testman, Grant, and Weaver.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40821.
G 40821, resolution authorizing acceptance of a grant award from the New York State Stop DWI Foundation and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Stop DWI, introduced by legislators Testman, Grant, and Weaver.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 40921.
G 40921, resolution authorizing the purchase of highway equipment, Highway Department, introduced by legislators Loveridge, Grant, Weaver, Harrington, Bailey, and Fleming.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 41021.
G 41021, resolution authorizing the appropriations of highway machinery fund balance and amending the 2021 Rensselaer County adopted budget, Highway Department, introduced by legislators Harrington, Bailey, and Fleming.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 41121.
G 41121, resolution authorizing renewal agreements with certain healthcare providers, Bureau of Human Resources, introduced by legislators Wysocki, Patiri, and Burns.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 41221.
G 41221, resolution authorizing a lease agreement with City Station East LLC, Unified Family Services Aging, introduced by legislators Loveridge, Grant, Weaver, Bailey, Peter, and Fleming.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 41321.
G 41321, resolution providing the distribution of mortgage tax, introduced by legislators Loveridge, Stammel, and Grimm.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. G 41412. I'm seeing 41412. There we go.
G 41421, a bond resolution of the County of Rensselaer, New York, authorizing the issuance of serial bonds in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $9,961,000 pursuant to the local finance law to finance wastewater system improvements, providing that the resolution shall be subject to permissive referendum and delegating certain powers in connection therewith to the Chief Fiscal Officer of the county for Rensselaer County Sewer District Number 1, introduced by legislators Harrington, Bailey, and Fleming. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Bailey? Mr. Bendet?
Yes.
Mr. Casal? Mr. Fiacco?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Harrington? Mr. Loveridge?
Yes.
Mr. Patiri? Mr. Peter? Mr. Testman? Mr. Wysocki? Ms. Hoffman? Ms. Doran? Mr. Fleming? Mr. Grimm? Ms. Weaver? Chairman Stammel?
Aye.
17 ayes.
P 41521.
P 41521, resolution filling vacancies on the Rensselaer County Health Board, introduced by legislators Bendet, Casal, and Doran.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
Moved. P 41621.
P 41621, resolution recognizing veterans that received medals on November 7th at a Veterans Appreciation Day breakfast in Rensselaer County, introduced by legislators Testman, Harrington, and the entire legislative body.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. P 41621. I did that.
P 41721,
1721. Yep.
resolution supporting green light for active military service members in transition to civilian life veteran status, introduced by legislators Harrington, Grant, and the entire legislative body.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. P 41821.
P P4/1821, resolution recognizing December as Buy Local Month in Rensselaer County, introduced by legislators Grimm, Doran, Burns, Fleming, Sullivan, Tito, Weaver, and the entire legislative body.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. P41921.
P4/1921, resolution adjourning the November 9th, 2021 legislative meeting in memory of Harold J. Goyer, and introduced by legislators Wysocki, Patiri, and the entire legislative body.
On the question? All in favor? Opposed?
17 ayes.
So moved. Legislative privilege. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. I would just like to say that, along with that, yes, please remember Thursday is really Veterans Day, so go out and honor a veteran one way or another, or veterans in one way or another. Shake their hand if you see them out there, and remember those who passed doing what they did for us in this country to keep it the great country that it is. And also, obviously, with Thanksgiving coming up, I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy yourselves with your family and friends, and remember the spirit of the country and the reason why Thanksgiving is shared. With that, make a motion, we adjourn. Motion to adjourn is seconded. All in favor? So moved. Thank you.